The last great war, over 80 years on, lest we forget. He was growing so tired and so restless, his patience was gossamer thin. Had the world forgotten the sacrifices made, what they saw, what it did to him? Returning home from the front, he must find work to take care of the kin he had left. To rebuild and create, his shoulders bore the weight of the future, all hope seemed bereft. The first 5 years were the hardest. It seemed he'd never be allowed to get warm. By day he worked every hour God sent, but the nightmares made sleep so forlorn. Repeatedly fighting his demons, they constantly haunted his dreams, until he could find a room in his mind to lock the horrors, the cruelty and the screams. There was no recognition of PTSD. The welfare state didn't exist. Those unable to cope with the voices and pain froze in the gutter, homeless, not missed. These were the men who had answered the call. At the altar of freedom they had offered their all. The cost of liberty was the ultimate price, and many found themselves fighting the same war twice. World leaders and politicians still squabble. They make threats using other people's lives. Do they actually recognise our soldiers as sons and daughters, husbands and wives? We have the finest tools in our armoury to keep the well-oiled machine running true. But we must always exhaust every fibre of peace, because the killing is not ours to do. I used to have a drink with the old soldier 10 years ago before he passed away, and I noticed the light had dimmed in his eyes and he would struggle for something to say. Sometimes he would talk of his exploits as if recalling a movie he'd seen, and then he would suddenly fall silent as he remembered the room that held all those bad dreams. We have now passed the 80th anniversary, yet mankind has learned nothing at all. There is always a global conflict or two, and starving children is the greatest crime of all. The imbalance of wealth, power before health, the cheating people a pandemic hid away. We were treated like fools whilst they broke all the rules, and some enjoyed enormous paydays. So, morally, we have come full circle. Over 80 years since the last Great War. We do irreparable damage to our planet, but do enough people really care anymore? The mega-rich moguls and greedy world leaders continue to gorge at the trough, whilst in secret they are building their space stations. If World War III breaks out, will they lift off? The last time I saw the old soldier, he had a racing post, studying form. He said, "I've never placed a bet, but I could do with a win. I can't afford to keep my house warm." Now all of a sudden I'm retired myself. I worked from being 15 years old. And you can take it from me, the powers that be are still determined to keep pensioners in the cold.